All right. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Al Stock Trades. I wanted to make this really quick video just to kind of summarize a couple of things. I know a lot of people in our Discord, they were having questions about looking at the EPS and how do you find that? How do you calculate that? So we're going to go ahead and just go over this really quickly. We will go into a more depth video later on, most likely next week. A bit preoccupied now, but I wanted to make this really quickly for the Clover community. Okay. So first things first, the bottom of the screen, you're going to see a nice little summary of what's going on with Clover. We have $846.7 million in total revenue for the second quarter of Q2, right? Sorry, the second quarter of 2022, which is obviously today's. If you don't remember the video I posted earlier today, if you look at the earnings preview, you can see that the revenue was estimated at $805. So $805 million, right? So that is obviously a beat. So they did beat on the revenue. However, they missed on the EPS. Okay. So if you look at the consensus for the earnings per share, the estimate is negative 20 cents. However, if you look at it, and to just calculate that, what I do personally is I take the net loss, which eventually will, when they become profitable, will be the net income, right? And by doing that, all you have to do is just take negative 104.2 divided by the number of outstanding shares, which is 470.85. It's around negative 22. So they're off by 2 cents. So they're negative 22. So they did miss EPS, okay? But again, we already knew that they're going to become unprofitable, and this was a part of the story. The biggest takeaway that this is what I'm looking at, is that first things first, the biggest takeaway is looking at the MCR. The MCR went from 111% from last year all the way up to 92%. Okay. The net loss actually decreased from 300 million to 104 million. However, here is Q1 of 2022. You can see that the MCR went from 96% down to 92%. Now, again, we usually like to look at quarter over quarter from last year, from this year. I also like to look at literally the previous quarter from the quarter from before, and that helps me to see, is the company becoming better in terms of short-term comparisons with MCR. And yes, MCR went from 96% and then to 92%. So MCR is doing great. That is really good to see, okay? So non-insurance MCR went from 111 to 106. This one is 90, 99 with insufficient data from before, okay? Now, salaries and benefits. We can see that the salaries and benefits are 117 from this year, and then from last year here, they're at 126. So they are becoming a little bit more, if you want to call them energy savings, right, in terms of not wanting this, spend a lot. Let's see here. In terms of the adjust, non-GAAP, again, these are non-reported financial accounting principles. I like to look at GAAP, but the adjusted here, you do see some improvements, okay? And this needs to be, you need to dig in a little bit more to understand what are the assumptions here, which I'm sure they probably put here within the adjusting accounting principles. Now, if you look at the insurance members, they are growing, which is exactly what you want to see. Here they have the financial outlook. The first thing they mention is the MCR, because that is a really good improvement year over year. Okay, that is amazing. Okay, they are expecting to do so. No revisions with revenue. They are expecting it to be $3 to $3.4 billion of 2022 fiscal year. They are seeing an expected MCR of 95 to 99%. So definitely, obviously, an improvement from before. Okay. Also, we had the COVID and all that. They mentioned the COVID here to talk about, why they've, it was a very tough time to become public. Okay. Let's go ahead and go down here. As you can see, the balance sheet here, the cash and cash equivalents is around 682 million, drop from 791 million. Now, you can just kind of compare it. This one had a little bit more. Let me just look up the cash for this. This was last quarter's, okay? Right, you see how here, 791, 722, and this is 791, 682. So you can subtract the difference to see what is their loss, and we'll be doing that in the video from before. A little bit more on the liabilities has increased. If you look at the total stockholders' equity, that has decreased. This is something that you don't want to see. Again, we're going to we want to hear what they have to say about this. The stockholders' equity did decrease. If you look at it Same story from the quarter from before. So these are things that you want increasing. Look up stockholders equity. We teach it on the Mastering Stock Market course. But essentially, this is essentially the ownership that the stockholders have in terms of in terms of the equity that they have and how much power they have in terms of the ownership of the company. And you want this increasing over time, right? Again, they're focusing right now on MCR and they're focusing on expansion, as you can see with the revenue increase. And that is that for this one here. Okay, now, lastly, Vivek is stepping down as his role for CEO. This is effective January 1st of 2023. So he's no longer going to be the CEO of Clover Health. Andrew Torrey is going to be the new CEO. He's amazing. I've actually had an opportunity to, be able to work alongside with a project regarding healthcare disparities on my medical side, as I am highly interested in becoming a physician and advocate for the historically marginalized. But beyond that, they say some important things here. Just to quickly summarize, I skimmed over it, because this literally is hot off of the press. The biggest thing here is that Vivek said that Andrew Toy was always going to be CEO. This was already planned, okay? He said that you can't be a technology company if you don't have a technology-centric leader. And that's exactly what I was thinking in the back of my mind. Andrew Toy was more of the technologist, okay? He's the one who came from Google. This is actually great news because now you're going to have a technology. When you have a CTO becoming a CEO, now the CEO is going to have sufficient enough power to actually hire even a dedicated CTO that is dedicated to expand their operations within this Clover Assistant, okay? So this is actually really good. Now, very quickly, I'm going to go over the questions and we'll go from there. And then I'm going to go ahead and end it. We're going to try to make this under 10 minutes. Okay, hello. How's everyone doing? Good. Yes, exactly. It's a usual after hours dump. No worries. So if you look at a lot of people if you go on YouTube, it's very funny. A lot of people have started making videos about Clover on YouTube, and it's very like, short squeeze or let's look at the technicals without really understanding the fundamentals of the business and really just kind of, I think, I would say views, right? Nothing to add value to you guys, nothing to help you break down things and add value. Okay. But you can see that there's a lot of short-term traders and momentum traders coming into this. It is okay. These are short-term fluctuations. These are just day traders trying to get their money. Okay. This is actually good. I personally think the new buy range now or the new lows would be anywhere between $2.50 to $3.10. I don't think we're going to be seeing $2, $1.98, $2, $2.20. I don't think those days are over, I think. If we do see those days, then we're very blessed because obviously this company's headed in the right direction. Okay. Why is Clover taking a dump right now? I just went and explained it. Okay. Explained it here. Hello. All right, so there it is there. If you guys are just tuning in, just make sure you restart the video because we just went ahead and explained a lot of stuff about we broke down the earnings. Now, what do I want to hear from this earnings report? Well, I want to go in and I want to hear about the new people that they hired. They hired a lot of people. They bolstered their professional executive team. I want to hear a little bit more about the CFO. What is his going to be? What is his role? What is going to be the new role of the CTO? Is there an interim CTO? Are they going to be looking for a new CTO? A CTO, right? And in terms of their expansions of what they're going to be doing in 2023, how are they going to go ahead and get at that in terms of free cash flow positivity and then income positivity? Is that still going to be effective in 2023? Because Vivek did say that, and he is stepping down. So is that still the coherent message that we are going to be experiencing, or that's changed, right? So there's that. And also I want to listen to the analyst questions. What are the analyst questions? Because it's very clear that this is the stock is headed into the right direction because they are slowly tracking up. I mean, come on, $300 million negative to 100 negative. That is a really significant improvement. Okay. All right. Another thing that I want to pay attention to is any share dilutions. Are they going to dilute? They did submit the paperwork. So are they going to dilute today? Are they going to do their share dilutions in the future? What is that going to look like? And is their burn rate sufficient enough to sustain it without a dilution until, let's say, they become free cash flow positive and net income positive? Another thing to look at is what are CMS requirements? Do they need to have sufficient amount of cash in order to operate as an insurance company for the, the help, essentially to do the job of the government, right? So these are all questions that are going to be asked, and also some Clover assistance on the side to see how that's tracking along. And how is the CFO going to take this company to becoming profitable? The CFO has a lot of trust within Wall Street, so this is actually great. But the biggest improvement I want to see here is the MCR. The MCR is tracking along the correct direction. That is great. This cannot, if this doesn't improve profitability, the profitability won't improve. Another thing is we are increasing quarter over quarter. I think this was, I don't know, like 100 and something, like 100 and anywhere between 100 to 110%, 120%. So on our calculations, now you guys know why I do about 60%, 50%, 40% on our intrinsic value calculations. Again, if you want access to our intrinsic value calculations calculator and all that, we do have a link down below to with the Mastering Stock Market course. There is a coupon, say 50, and that is pretty much all I have to say right now. And we just need more data from them. And I think we broke this down sufficiently. And yeah, we broke down the numbers, and I'm sure these are reiterate the numbers. Okay. Let's see here. Here's the net loss, 109 million compared to 75 million loss. Let me be a little off on these. Exactly. So that's exactly what I did in the beginning. I went ahead and I went to the net losses. This is for the people that don't understand this comment. The 75 million loss, he's getting it from this specific number here. Let me go ahead and zoom in. He's getting it from Q1 of 2022. Exactly. If you look at the earnings, if you look at the net loss divided by the number of outstanding shares, you get approximately negative 0.16 EPS, earnings per share, which was a beat. However, if you look at the loss here, in comparison to last year, 48 to 75. Again, this number here, it was already backlogged heavy, right? The backlog was extremely heavy of 300 million, negative 300 million. So it's only fair to assume to go from negative 300 million to negative 100, that's a pretty good significant. It's a less negative number, meaning it's closer to zero, which means it's closer to the positive values, right? Because if you look at here, they increased, and that kind of scared me. But now we're seeing a big decrease. So this is good to see. Getting back green here. So yeah, maybe it's going up right now. I haven't looked at the stock price. I'm looking at the fundamentals, and usually the fundamentals track along with the stock price. Let's see here. I think we are headed to increase the start trading. Good. Absolutely. A slight get loss. Perfect. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's exactly what I'm doing. So, all right, guys, it is a privilege and honor. God bless each and every one of you. I wanted to make this a very short video, just kind of a breakdown, and we're going to go deeper in next week from now. But I wanted to go ahead and throw this video out so you guys can see it. All right, guys, peace out. Love each and every one of you. God bless you, and I'll see you on the next one.